Welcome to Yard Prep, the 5 Reasons Sports pregame show. Of course, I am your host, Kai'Chien Chisholm. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Royal A. Shepherd, also Juan Cardona, and then Michael, whenever he gets here. He is currently driving from Miami back to his home in Orlando, so we will get him halfway through the show. It's the first pregame show of the regular season, and finally, football is back. We're all getting upset at our fantasy teams. Me for the first time in about 7 years.
I'm ecstatic. I hate on almost everything besides Gus Edwards. That's why I couldn't come Thursday. The Gus Edwards news just rocked every single one of my teams. So,
well, a lot of us, I guess, me and Royal, and then Mike probably. I haven't even seen Mike's team yet.
no,
but
Mike
sure
is terrible
Mike
at everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're expecting. But a lot of us, fantasy
except for money
football is
management.
back. Yeah, fantasy football is back. Football is back. Everything is just going great and amazing. Boys, how has your first, I guess, now almost 2 hours into football? It's been about 1.5 hours now into the games. How's it been for you?
Yeah, so I got Philadelphia and Atlanta and Jacksonville and Houston. Those are the two games that are in my local area that I'm watching right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Smitty
I mean,
looks good. Smitty looks good. Smitty
right,
looks
he
good.
does. So that's been the main takeaway. Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts look good together out here. And so that's been a real nice surprise. In terms of Jacksonville and Houston doesn't look as bad as I thought they would without D-Watt. And they also have they also have a bit of a challenge on their hand because Trevor Lawrence looks okay, but they're getting their smoke right now. Jacksonville's getting their smoke right now, but my main takeaway is probably be Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith.
Yeah, Jacksonville really is getting, of course, Welch's here from the start. Man. But of course, like Jacksonville's getting smoked right now, like they really are. It's been a little bit crazy to see that they're getting smoked that bad. But I guess that's the Urban Meyer tax that we have to include in that.
We're no mention of Dan Campbell eating kneecaps all the way to 31-10, or do we just side past that?
I mean, what were you really expecting, though? What were we really expecting? Why do you look at my name, bro? It's free Amon-Ra St. Brown, all right?
Like, kind of why I brought it up. So, yeah.
Free my guy. The only reason, by the way, that I like Amon-Ra St. Brown is because he's a Bayern Munich fan and is from Germany. So,
so he's somebody of culture.
He's a man of culture.
Yeah, we like those guys.
But Juan, how about you? I mean, obviously the Lions, that's one of your takeaways. But like, how have you kind of been getting back here and watching football, kind of actually being back and staying in front of the TV type of thing?
Yeah, so I actually got Cop Sunday ticket again this year. They always get me every year. I always say I don't do it. I always say I won't do it, but I always end up getting it. And really, like in my money league, I have Eckler, Gibson. So that's kind of like the game that I've been watching the most. Justin Herbert against that Washington defense, man, like that first drive was methodical. It was very impressive. I'm seeing, kind of shades of like the Buffalo game here and there. They'll have a 75-yard kickoff return and then end up with a field goal after a 3-and-out. So it's interesting. I've had fun though so far. It's exciting to get everything going up again. And we got less than 2 hours until kickoff. So I'm excited, bro.
Just kind of sticking with that a little bit. Michael's guy, Najee Harris, hasn't been
trash.
Well, the Steelers have just been trash in general. Like, let's be real.
Sure. That's right.
And a tweet just came up on my timeline that says, "Is 7 okay?" Like, guys, like anyone that wasn't a Steelers fan or a national media member could have looked at them and said, "Let's be real, bro. They're not like they're phonies." Like
9 carries for 19 yards. That ain't my king. I'll tell y'all that right now.
And that's who we wanted, right? That's exactly who we wanted to come out here and be the Dolphins running back. And look what he's doing. Absolutely jack nothing. But a lot of these teams are kind of showing that, except I guess like one of the big things, and you mentioned it, Royal, is like the fact, and we'll get into the Fitzmagic stuff because obviously, it does suck.
It's tragic
because you never want to see a football player get injured.
Yes.
Actually, let's just go right into that one. So,
facts.
Ryan Fitzpatrick's injured. He's out for at least the game. Taylor Heinicke is going in there and going to try to at least do something now for the Washington football team, and Heinicke is possible. Like, what do you guys think about kind of the Fitzmagic stuff and just Washington in general? I feel it's like the whole offseason, no one's really known what they're going to be at the quarterback position. Obviously, you thinking that it's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick even after what Taylor Heinicke was able to do against the Super Bowl champions last year. but like they haven't. I mean, nothing's ever been coming out about they made all these acquisitions, and their quarterback celebration or their quarterback room has still been a little bit bad.
Yeah, I think a lot of Dolphins fans are kind of like celebrating this internally, which is kind of messed up.
Yes.
Yeah, which is it's kind of messed up that you're celebrating the injury. I think we all kind of figured that Fitzmagic would get like switched out at some point during this season, but you hate to see it be like this. And so that's been the main thing for me in terms of that. I don't like seeing Dolphins fans kind of like rejoice at somebody being injured, but it's not just Dolphins fans. It could be several other people, but those are mainly who I've been seeing. But no, there is a silver lining to this because there's a former MVP that is on the market that Washington should look into. And I'll just leave that at that and let everybody else give their opinions.
Juan, you're the folks that I'll be talking about of celebrating the injury. I said that.
I actually have not said a word.
I was happy, but
I didn't say a word. I just
word.
No.
It was. I started the third quarter.
Like I said, I was watching that game because of Eckler and Gibson. It was kind of surprising in a way of like it's not surprising that Fitzpatrick just was all up in one drive or however many drives he went in. It's that team is good, bro. They have a D line, they have a defense, they have receivers, they have running backs, they have an O line. If they could just get average play from the quarterback room, like they'll be decent. They'll go someplace. They made the playoffs with 7 wins last year. So I mean, the bar is not that high. Even after we saw Dallas almost beat the Bucks. But no, honestly, like it's whatever. I don't really care too much to even look into like what his stats were or anything like that. The only one that I do care to look at stats was Mr. Sam Darnold with 17 for 23. 234 yards and 1 touchdown, but that's neither
against the Jets. Juan.
Like, it's neither here nor there. That's what I just said. I'm just saying. I was the only one I wanted to like keep an eye on, but no big deal.
I was about to bring this up. Heineke comes in, and the first thing they do at the start of the third quarter, 3 receptions, 48 yards now for Terry McLaurin and a quick touchdown, and now they're leading the Chargers just like that. Man.
Smart.
And someone tweeted out, and I think it's true. And I was looking
look at you with that drop. I see you, boy, dropping that pass.
Someone tweeted out and said Ryan Fitzpatrick just lost his job again. And well,
I wonder if he's gonna cry.
He might, but I mean, I guess I don't want us to be kind of celebrating like other people about his injury, because of course you never want to see a player get injured, but obviously it does kind of, I guess, suck for them. But I mean, if another guy comes in and is improving and being,
it does directly tie into Miami though, bro. Like he lost his job,
but that's why I wanted to kind of bring it up.
He sulked. Yeah, he lost his job last year. He sulked about it, and then he went to his new job and still talked about him losing his old job. So there's a sense, I'm not going to pretend like there isn't a sense of poetic justice here in terms of Dolphins fans for him to lose his job. But
do you think it's more of Dolphins fans getting, because I feel like every Dolphins fan loved Ryan Fitzpatrick, even despite like kind of him complaining and moaning and groaning. But do you think it's more so the perception that Ryan Fitzpatrick was a great quarterback while he was here rather than what actually happened?
No, I think the reason that most people are happy that he's doing it is because he continued to bring up the Dolphins when he was no longer a member of the Dolphins. Like you left, that situation's over. Tua is the starting quarterback for the Dolphins now. You're the starting quarterback for Washington. Talk about what Washington is doing and leave the past in the past. And so to see him continue to like linger on that, and it's kind of like he's continuing to throw dirt on the Dolphins. Like you don't want to see that from anybody. And so when something like this happens, then I can understand the feeling. I just think it sucks that it had to be this way.
Juan, any comment on that?
I plead the fifth.
All right. Well, from there, we have a game that's going to happen here in just a few hours, where the Miami Dolphins are going to travel, as they have already, to Foxborough and play the New England Patriots and the fan favorite quarterback of only Juan Cardona here in South Florida of Mac Jones. I don't think anyone expects that Mac Jones is going to dominate the Dolphins except for Juan Cardona. So Juan, I want to give you the floor.
I do not. I'll start
First,
off.
before we go into game predictions, because we're gonna kind of save that towards the tail end.
Okay.
Who are some of your? I want you to give your defense because obviously,
Yeah.
I did just put you there up on the stand.
It's
But as well,
I live there.
I want to get your key player for the Dolphins for this game as well. After
Can we?
give your defense.
I'll be nice and exclude Tua. So throw the alley to one of y'all boys.
I feel like obvious ones should be excluded. Except we'll get into it. But I feel like the obvious like Tua,
Is there any other name you want to throw out there?
I feel like maybe saying like I feel like maybe saying like Jalen Waddle, just because I feel like we're all expecting something now. So that's like kind of someone like a key player.
Not Waddle, not Tua.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go because I was gonna go Waddle. Because just based off how New England plays him and what we do with motions and stuff like that, that'll be a key indicator for anything as far as Tua reading man or zone or stuff like that. But I'm gonna go Mike Gesicki. Just to throw a little. There you go, Gesicki, but Gesicki.
Yeah.
I liked what, and I'm gonna pat myself in the back with this one too. But I like what CK said in the most recent podcast for Gesicki, where if there's ever a year for him to go 1,100 yards and 12 TDs, it's this year. And I've been teetering on the TD part. I said double digit. I like how CK just firmly said 12. If 12, that's a hell of a number there. But based off how everybody's going to get played with Waddle, with Devontae, and really their cornerback and DB room is probably practice squad players that we're going to have to see. So it's something that's going to be where down the middle and stuff like that, although Chris Simpson said that everything was down the middle, even though it wasn't, I think Tua will be able to eat with Gesicki.
I want to cut you off and then cut Royal off here because we do have our inactive list now. The Miami Dolphins inactive list today includes Trill Williams, Noah Igbenogany, Preston Williams, Elijah Campbell, and Greg Little, which probably most likely now signals that we will see Austin Jackson today at tackle. There it is. Like, any immediate thoughts on this inactive list? Of course, two of your guys, Juan and Trill Williams and Noah Igbenogany, are on there. Preston Williams will not be playing after he's coming off of his injury, still kind of recovering. Elijah Campbell just recently brought in, and then Greg Little will also be inactive. What are your immediate thoughts there?
I mean, Trill's not that surprising. Preston, I mean, it's weird that his foot is still affecting him. Elijah Campbell, no clue who that is, we'll be honest. Greg Little
came from the Jets, I believe.
Okay, even that's probably why I don't know anything about him. Greg Little, though, was a little interesting. I figured you could have either started him or left him as a backup choice just in case that Austin really isn't in shape. He did have those 5 days or 6 days, whatever it was, with no practice. Maybe that does affect him. Maybe that doesn't. I guess we're going to live and die with that result. Noah's the one that kind of sucks. I mean, we doing math, we kind of realized he's 5th corner at best, maybe 6th or 7th at worst. And unless you're really playing a lot of special teams at an elite level, you're probably not going to get that spot. And it looks like they went more with tight ends because now basically all the tight ends are active, no?
Yes. Yep. Every single. So Mike Gesicki, Adam. Well, I don't know if Adam Shaheen's been brought off the COVID list, but it would be Mike Gesicki, Durham Smythe, Hunter Long, and I guess Ethan Carter, essentially.
So yeah, they're going with some interesting choices as far as like game day roster. But I mean, Noah could have helped out also with kick returns and punt returns, which after we let go of our guy Malcolm Perry, probably
who was also out for today.
Oddly enough,
with a foot injury
on IR. Yeah, so
yeah,
I wonder if by Tuesday he has a little scamper on down to South Florida. But all yours, Royal.
Yeah. So just to your Austin Jackson point about him not practicing in a couple of days, I don't think it really matters because even when he was playing, it looked like he hadn't practiced at all any goddamn way. So it doesn't matter like whether or not he's practicing or not. I think the most interesting name on here to me is Preston Williams. Like I am personally a fan of Preston Williams. Okay. I want to see him play, and I think the wide receiver depth is one of the most important pieces of this team's success. So when you don't have all of them at your disposal, you are at the mercy of any of them. And so if one of them goes down, particularly Devontae Parker, then you know what I mean, then the room gets a lot smaller and it's a lot less talent, a lot less targets. And then you're looking at that's probably how Gesicki is going to get to that 1,200 or 1,100, 12 touchdown
TD,
mark.
yep.
Yeah, with the wide receiver room going down with injury. So I guess Preston Williams will be the name that sticks out to me on the inactives list. To go back to the original question, though, about who I forgot what it was. It was like who am I looking at as the most important key players for the game?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the receiving core, kind of like Juan, but I'm going wide receiver. I'm going Devontae Parker. I think he's gonna be. I think it's gonna be interesting to watch him. Like he didn't play in a single preseason game, right?
He caught like 2 passes in practice one time, and they were like, "You're good, you're good."
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And most of the time, he had on a red shirt like he was a quarterback. So it's like,
yeah.
So that, like we said, we had this conversation before. Like your body needs to develop that callus in terms of the NFL, where you're getting hit, you're accustomed to getting hit, so that you can, go out there and do your job. So I'm going to be watching him a lot today because if Tua throws him the ball, I'm going to be seeing how he takes a couple of those hits, seeing if he's fully healthy, and then I'll be able to make my determination on how I feel the rest of this room can be built with him potentially leading it.
No Jalen Mills on the inactive list for the New England Patriots. Wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, and just to add up to that too, Barry's talking that during the week the people that were practicing as the starting tackles was Jesse and Liam. So it doesn't seem like Greg Little was ever really in the plan. So
interesting. I want to bring that up here just so that everyone can read it as well. So it says, as we
I credited him, right? I said Barry, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
That they used Eichenberg and Davis as starting tackles in practice last week, and that they were limited on how they're allowed to report. So at least they have that out there. So maybe it is going. Maybe we'll see a little bit of Austin Jackson. But if that's the way, then where you think that they put Liam there, then at left tackle in that situation?
In the event that Austin goes down or something?
Maybe in the event Austin goes down, or maybe they just feel like they aren't going to play him today. You get me? Like, do you think that they'll roll with him instead?
No, I think for sure Austin is the starting plan, and the backup plan is Liam at left.
Okay.
How I feel about that? It was interesting. Liam said something earlier this week where he was just like, "Yeah, I'm kind of more comfortable on the left side if I'm being honest," and specifically as far as left tackle, kind of even like hinting at it. And it's not surprising, obviously, a 33 game starter at Notre Dame. But I understand always the idea of cross training, but I feel like eventually it's like, bro, let people play the position they're meant to, kind of like you did with Robert Hunt. Finally, you just left him at right guard, and he's dominant at this point. Give Liam a position, let him settle in, let him ball out, and live with the results.
It seems like the general consensus, and before I kind of go to you, Royal, just for a comment on that, it seems like the general consensus from Dolphins beat writers and just kind of in general, as I'm looking around with Liam Eichenberg, is that they wouldn't be shocked and actually would be more surprised if Liam Eichenberg did not start today at left tackle.
Yeah, so I think I want to know is that where you guys view him going forward? Is that left tackle?
I do not.
I think he's a right tackle. I think he's going to be protecting him
on the field. That's for me. Yeah. Like I just want him on the field.
With you, I agree.
Sure, me too. I'm there too. But
more
I think
than Jesse
I want
Davis.
him right, obviously. But I want him protecting Tua's blind side. So I believe, to Juan's point, if you're going to have him go out there, have him go out there at a position that you want to see him develop at and continue to like grow in that space. So I want him to play right tackle, and I would like to keep him. I would like to keep him at right tackle the entire season. And Jesse Davis and Austin Jackson can fight it out for left tackle duties. But I want Eichenberg protecting Tua's blind side, and that's just where I am on him probably going to be until he sucks.
So
Fair.
Just for confirmation on what we kind of went into a little bit earlier, Juan, you said that your key player to watch today was Mike Gesicki, correct?
Yes.
And then Roy, you said that it was Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick on the receiving. No, actually, I guess you could say still receiving end. I'm going to go with Savon Ahmed. I feel like the last time we saw Savon Ahmed against the New England Patriots, he was our first 100-yard rusher in X amount of, since Jay Ajayi had existed. And I do have him on my fantasy team and was
I do
battling
too. I'm not
starting
gonna
him
front,
today.
so that's why I'm like, I like it.
But I do think that I like Savon Ahmed a lot. I like the duo of Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed. And I think a lot of what we saw throughout practice and OTAs and throughout, the preseason was that they loved having Savon Ahmed play in that receiving back role as well as giving him touches as a running back. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he is kind of one of the main guys that they go to and that he does have a good game rushing. I just wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins team in general doesn't, has at least a good day rushing the football. And I think that does start with Savon Ahmed.
Somebody said, let's see if X shows up after getting his paycheck. Listen, bro, I have no doubt that the X-Man is going to be out there causing havoc. I think he's out there. I think he's out there to prove a point this year. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to get 10 interceptions again this year, but I don't expect any dip in his play. And I expect the Dolphins defense all year to be dominant. So, and X is a big part of that. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to get comfortable with what he got during these renegotiations. I think he's going to try and go out there and prove that he deserves more.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, Alex, is sometimes it does happen, but usually in those scenarios it happens when it's the first year of a deal. This is a rework deal, so this is something that is not gonna go away. This is a conversation where it's just a see you later, and not a okay, we're fine. No, this is next couple months. If I ball out, we're gonna have another conversation about redoing.
It's gonna keep coming up.
Deal. Yeah.
So the next question here, and I guess I would ask you, Juan, as well here. How many are what do you think?
I think I saw Thrive had it at like 45, 50 yards, something like that. And what I like about that is it's I believe what is that, rushing yards? Because that's the thing with Gaskin. He could give you 45, 50 rushing yards,
them, right?
And get you another 30, 40 yards receiving. And then it's like, okay, well, you got almost 100 yards from scrimmage. That's a decent player that you can, feature and give 12, 15 times a game, So I will say something along those lines.
Royal?
Yeah, I think I'm with Juan. 40, 50 yards is probably good for Gaskin. If you get anything over that, then that's just gravy, because I'm expecting them both to be factors in the passing game as well. Like I feel like I'm just going to echo everything Juan said just then, so I might as well stop talking now. I think that was good analysis, and I'm 100% in agreement with it.
I like I said before, I have a lot of faith in Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed. So for both of them in general, I think whether it's as receiving backs and running, I'm very, very happy. And Royal, I see you looking around. You are being called out.
Yeah, somebody said when Dolphins come
instantly.
Does this work? This work? Okay.
Instantly, here comes Welch.
I hate this man, bro.
Welch
lives to
brings it through. And then Cap coming in and talking as well, because Cap is always here for every single show.
Smell it, Cap. It's almost here, bro.
It really is almost here. Is there anything that maybe you guys want to say that's kind of like we're getting into it? We have an hour and a half now, pretty much, until the game starts and until kind of everything that we've said all off season finally has to get implemented and get put in. Is there any last things before we give game predictions and how we think the game might go that you want to kind of get off your chest as a Dolphin fanalist, as Omar Kelly likes to say?
I like it. Can I go first?
Of course.
I'm being a fanalist here, so I'm going to start negative and then positive. Negative, if we give up an early lead and they get to start running the ball, they get comfortable, Max starts having an empty pocket, that's where we're going to struggle. If they go ahead and start running it down our throat, if there's 150 yards rushing before the third quarter, I would say we're probably looking at a double-digit deficit. Really, it's all about the defense, getting them to not play on their heels and be aggressive, right? As far as our advantages, I really want to point this out, and it's probably going to be something that is a story and a theme throughout the entire season. The Dolphins are the faster team in this matchup. And I'm not talking about in just wide receiver room. I'm talking about overall. Like, the Dolphins are a very fast team that is going to be, track team. Like, it's going to be, can you keep up with our guys? Can you sit here and really stop us and contain a guy like Waddle, a guy like Albert Wilson, like Ahmed, like Gaskin? So we're going to have guys that can move. And if we want to do like the hockey analogy, we got our second line with Devontae, with Gesicki, with Preston, where we have size and we can body you up. If Godsey and, Studsville they get it together and they can make a good game plan, like the pieces are there. We have the pieces.
Royal?
Just a slight correction. We don't have Preston today.
No, I'm talking about, yeah, correct.
Yeah, but so before we get into it, one thing I would want to do is caution Dolphins fans about their expectations. Make sure that you temper your expectations so that you're not overly dramatic if the Dolphins don't pull out this victory today. Expect to win. Expect a win, because I believe that they are the faster team, they are a better team, and they should pull out this victory. But if they don't, then it's not the end of the year. The sky is not falling. This is a very long football season.
Other games, correct.
Yeah, there are 16 other games that you guys have the opportunity to get better at. And this is the first starting game for Tua, first NFL game for Jalen Waddle, first with two new offensive coordinators, the dual offensive coordinator thing. There are a lot of new factors in this team's offense and defense as well. But you expect your offense to struggle a little bit, but I'm expecting them to get it together throughout the game. Other than that, bro, just have fun with it. It's opening day of the NFL, bro. Like, football is back. I am trying to contain myself from watching this football game right next to me while I'm talking to y'all, but it's a great day, man. I'm very excited. It's one of the happiest days of my life when football comes back. But yeah, Dolphins fans, temper your expectations, man.
Royal, I want to ask, please tell me that you have on Red Zone and not just a regular game.
You said what?
Please tell me you have on NFL Red Zone and not just a regular game.
Okay, Kai'Chien Chisholm, I'm not made of money, okay? I don't have NFL Red Zone like most of you.
NFL Red Zone came with my cable, okay? I don't know what to say.
All right, okay, whatever. I don't have your smashy cable, okay? I have YouTube TV, which is my brother's account that he's so gracious enough to let me use.
Shout
and then
out.
I have a bunch of other less than legitimate websites that I use to watch any game that I want. That's how I watch football.
So to watch your Packers play today, essentially, is what you're saying.
I can't watch the Packers play today because I am a Dolphins analyst. I am watching the Miami Dolphins instead of the Green Bay Packers today.
Welch, I tested him, Welch. All right.
Welch, is that the stat line for Najee? I'm just curious.
I think he's saying the stat line for Zach Wilson. No, maybe it is Najee. I don't know. Zach Wilson has some.
I'm pretty sure that's Najee.
Oh, because someone else had said something about Zach Wilson before. Yeah, no, Zach Wilson's not having a great game, but I honestly,
he's not.
He did have a bomb that
our boy Najee Harris, 12 carries, 20 yards.
That Elijah Moore dropped. So
with a long of 9.
But Kai, I don't think you were here, Kai. But I called Zach Wilson.
Where are my Bama fans at, bro?
I called Zach Wilson.
I'm antagonizing today. Where y'all at?
Look at Juan the troll.
I got time.
Juan does not want Royal to speak.
My bad, Royal.
It doesn't matter.
You got
it. It's okay. I was just talking about how I called Zach Wilson a bust a long time ago.
Oh yeah,
I think we all did too. Right.
Yeah, he's the Mormon Mahomes.
Juan is in real form today, baby.
It's week 1, y'all boys. I'm ready, bro. This offseason was long, not even long.
Well, that's why
long, because my goodness,
asked.
bro, I am sick of hypothesizing and synopsis. No, I want real, legitimate, tangible results today, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna see what we got to say. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, and we're gonna live with the results, man. Listen. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be loud, bro. Right, wrong, left, right, green, red. I'm gonna be loud.
No, and that's why I asked the question, because I feel like we've all been so we've been so cautious to be happy. Is that a good way to say it? All off season, we've been hearing about the crap with DW, and of course more that had to come up today. But then we all were trying to put the faith into it, except for you, Juan, Mac Jones lover, and we were all trying to have faith in the team and everything like that. But now it's finally here. This whole week, I feel like Dolphins fans have been nervous, not just because of the fact that we want this to be a great game, but also of the fact where it's if people like you who love Mac Jones end up getting a great game out of Mac Jones and then Tua looks bad, which we don't expect. But as was brought up earlier, it's I feel like we are so used to being let down, and we haven't had 2 seasons in a row in so long where we were able to be good and keep progressing, that we're all thinking, oh man, all we're going to be is a poor team again, and we're not going to be able to do anything. And as I say that, the man who has the dedication from driving from Miami, Florida, back to his home in Orlando, Florida, and make it in time for this show, Michael Christian.
30 minutes late is on time, I guess.
My boy.
Mike, with everything that you were doing, it doesn't matter. I'm assuming that you were driving definitely not the speed limit, and you were trying to make it your way here. But to catch you up, I want to ask you the 2 questions. One, besides Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Waddle, who is your player that you want to see the most out of today? And then the second question after that is, what are your thoughts as we get ready to get into the game? Not about the game, but just about the whole offseason, and what are your feelings?
So the player I want to see most out of today, I think for me that's going to have to be, I want to see something from Javon Holland, because I feel like he's going to have a fairly big role. I want to see something from that safety position. I don't even know about this yet. I haven't seen what's happening.
I'll show you what's happening.
Oh, hey, listen. Still probably better than Gaskin. I think, I want to see Javon Holland in the safety position do something, right? Because we know what's going to happen with the other guys, right? We know exactly where Eric's going to be the entire game. So I really want to see what happens with Javon Holland. I want to see him have a good impact in his first game. And what was the other thing this offseason?
How are you feeling? Like, not about the game. We're about to get into our thoughts on the game and how we expect it to kind of play out, but just in general, how you feel right now as you're getting ready, an hour and a half until the game starts. Like, just how do you feel as and the term was, as Omar Kelly loves to say, a fanalist?
As a fanalist, listen, I'm hype. Honestly, I'm expecting playoffs. I don't think they should fall short of that. I think if they do, then we've got a lot of conversations we need to have. But until then, I think this team is in a good enough spot to make it to there. I think they'll get to the, 11-6 prediction I had. So this is the most hype I've been about this team in a really long time, and I'm excited to see it actually out there on the field.
See, Michael should have been here for my overarching views, because I said to temper expectations, and Michael just comes in here and takes the expectations and shoot them through the roof.
Yep.
Here's my argument. Why? Why should I temper expectations?
Because you guys are so accustomed to losing that you expect failure. So when you put your bar here, it is impossible for this team to meet it. Because once you make it to the playoffs, because you're going to expect Super Bowl. Like, that's what you're going to do.
And reaching it, or expecting nothing and then being mediocre, is why we got stuck with Ryan Tannehill for 8 years and did nothing about it.
It's not expecting nothing. It's factoring in everything that you guys have to deal with as a team. There's a bunch of new coming into the Miami Dolphins system right now. New expectations, new quarterback, dual offensive coordinators, new system for them, new primary target for Tua. There's a lot that this team has to integrate. There's a lot that this team has to mesh together in order to become the football team that we all believe that they can become. So we cannot put that burden on them from game one, Michael. Give them a couple of weeks.
They had a bunch of new guys last year and they went 10-6.
This is not last year.
This should be better. What excuse do they have to take a step back from last year?
You said what?
What excuse do they have to take a step back from last year?
The O-line.
I'm not expecting them to take.
The health of the wide receivers. I could give you a bunch of them.
I'm not expecting them to take a step back. I'm just saying that if they are on par with what they were last year, then you will be disappointed, and that should not be seen as a disappointment.
I said 11-6. That's one game different.
Yeah, but last year they were 2 years ahead of schedule.
This guy here.
Okay, fine. They were 2 years ahead of schedule. Here. So now, if the Dolphins end the season 9-8, as Juan likes to predict, I should just sit here and say, you know what? It's okay, though, because we had new pieces and new offensive line and a bunch of new guys. And, this year was just different. So it's okay. We're 9-8.
No, that's not what I'm saying, Mike. What I'm saying is don't put the bar at playoffs, because 11-6 might not get you to the playoffs.
I am tired of living as a fan of
PTSD. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, Mike. And I think CK hit on that too. Like, there has to be a time where we just say enough, and it's like, no, we expect it. We need to see it. I don't think it's this year that we need to see it, but it's just going to be a building process, in my opinion. No, it's not. It really is not. There is 15 other games. Stop.
Listen, Royal is the one that not Royal. Sorry, Juan is the one that says 1-4. So
Yeah, exactly. And I still have them winning 9 games after that. So there's hope. There's chance.
That comment is fair.
That's true.
All Royal has known his entire life as a football fan is winning. So,
but I just want to make it clear. So, Royal, it sounds like you're saying temper expectations. Juan is saying don't have any, right? Because that's just what Juan is saying.
I actually do agree with that. I like that. Don't have any expectations. Whatever you see, just absorb it and enjoy it.
Am I the only one who's here? Like, I do expect good things.
Me and you have always been on the same page that 11-6 and 10-7 is the bare minimum. We've been on the same page for the longest time. That it has to be 10-7 is the bare minimum, and if it's 10-7, you have to make the playoffs. Yeah. Like if you have another situation, like let's say you go 11-6 and you miss out on the playoffs, like. Look, all right. Like if it's whatever happens,
it happens, right? Like the AFC, right?
But if it's 10-7, it has to be 10-7 in playoffs. Like it's just, I feel like, and Roy made the great point. Last year they were ahead of schedule. That team was ahead of schedule for what the rebuild was supposed to be. I give a ton of credit to the coaching staff. Give a ton of credit to the young guys that were playing, that were making an impact. Now with the additions that they've made, and then we'll see the full offense, minus Preston Williams and Will Fuller today. And then next week we'll get to see Will Fuller and maybe Preston Williams. Like, you need to have this team out there. Like this team offensively needs to match what the defense matched last year. And look, we're not saying the defense is going to be the same every single year. Like I feel like that's predicting something like that is impossible to do, and saying that your defense is going to be amazing. Because like look at Washington, their defense was great last year, and then they were getting destroyed early on in the first game of the season. It is the first game of the year, but like I just today with this game, and it's a perfect way to lead into kind of what we want to see out of the game today. And obviously, I'm sure all of us obviously want to see a win, and we expect a win, except for McCorkle Jones over there on the bottom left. But besides that, like. I feel like
nobody on this show likes Juan anymore. We still love you, but I mean, we don't.
No, someone mentioned it.
I was about to say, I personally love Juan Cardona.
I showed that love for Juan.
You just not when it comes to the Dolphins.
Well, I think he's delusional about Mac Jones, but I still
wait till
there's always that one apple of your eye. You can't explain it.
You missed it. He already said something about the Panthers, Michael. So it's already.
Oh yeah, Sam Darnold balling.
I also hate that opinion. So, but I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Because it is. Look, we all have bad opinions. Juan just has more bad opinions than all of us. But
and I'm loud.
And he's loud about it. That's the thing too. You're unapologetically yourself, Juan. And honestly, we couldn't ask for anything better. You're unapologetically yourself.
Here's the thing, though. In Hispanic culture, technically, he's not wrong because he's the loudest, right? And the way we argue is the louder you are, the more right you are. That's just how it is.
You win. If you're the loudest in the room, you win.
Oh, well, you're about to fall down that pecking order the more comfortable I get being on this show, bro. Y'all already know.
I love it. Let's get it.
I'm the loudest person on the network, bro.
Let's get it.
Yeah. So, as we get into it, today's game, and to lead into that, the expectations I think that I have, and then I'll go to everyone else in the panel, and we'll start with Mike afterwards, is that you need to come away with this game showing the national media and showing everyone else that Mac Jones is not he's not tough shit yet, and that you have to show that your defense can be the same defense that they were. Xavier Howard can't get – I know that the Patriots don't have great wide receivers, especially right now considering the injuries. Xavier Howard and Byron Jones can't get cooked. Like, it just can't happen, and especially Xavier Howard. After having this whole – off season about the contract, if he gets cooked and then Byron Jones doesn't, that's a bad look. I know it's just week 1, but that's a bad look. And then we just need to see stuff out of Tua. Like we have to see the offense progress and be better. And I think that we will, but it just has to be there. Not having Preston Williams, you haven't had him all off season besides, a couple snaps here and there for, in practice. You have had Will Fuller, but really not at the same time, but you'll get him back next week after the suspension. With the additions, with what we've seen out of Albert Wilson progressing out of his injury, what we've seen from Jalen Waddle, Jakeem Grant was catching passes in the preseason. Like, we need to see both sides of the football look better today. We know that Jason Sanders is going to be great. It's just what it is. And then Pilardi has been great at punter, so I don't even want to mention my side of the football here. But Mike, what are your expectations just for today's game?
It's tough to have expectations when it's a Bill Belichick team, because he's going to change it up to be whatever it needs to be to defeat your team, and I think that's the toughest part. Everybody's expecting pressure. Everybody's been talking about that for a while now, which is the only reason why I feel like there may not be so much pressure, because it feels like whenever everyone says Bill Belichick is going to do this, he's like, you know what? Nope. I'm going to drop everybody back in coverage.
Yeah.
And then Tua's going to sit there and be like, oh, I thought I was seeing pressure all day. And then, so I don't know what to expect from the team today. The only thing that I know for sure I need to see is I cannot see McCorkle being better than Tua. Like if that's the way it looks out there, no, straight up, like that's my biggest thing. If McCorkle coming in first game ever looks better than Tua, something went wrong somewhere with today's game plan or with the entire team. Like something's going on. We have a better defense than the Patriots do right now, in my opinion. At least on the secondary, we absolutely do. Right. So if he finds a way to cook those guys, we've got some deep issues on defense. Tua can't get anything going on offense. What were the weapons for? I can't see that. So I'll let everybody else come up with other stuff, but that's my big thing. Can't have McCorkle beating Tua.
Damn, bro. I mean, in the worst case scenario, I feel like you might be like low key, like slitting your wrist at the end of the night. Like dog,
so, like if McCorkle cooks Tua,
whatever. Just like, even if the offense struggles, I could see a scenario where they do struggle to move the ball, and it's just
but there's a difference between struggling and cooking, though. Like I'm talking about McCorkle comes out and looks like Justin Herbert last year versus Tua last year, not when he played the Dolphins, obviously, but like overall.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
But the thing is like, I care about Mac Jones. I think he is going to be a good player, but like, I don't care enough to say, okay, if Tua looked worse than him, like it's the end of the world. Like I truly don't. Like if Tua looks worse than him and we win, then hell, like I don't care. Like we won, right? Now,
if we win, we win. Kind of like the Patriots game last year when Tua, he had one interception, didn't have a passing touchdown, had 2 rushing touchdowns, and we won.
As a Hurricanes fan, I can't say if we win after beating Appalachian State by 2. That's not a win for me. That hurts.
Hey, at least you're not Florida State. They lost to Jacksonville State last night.
And listen, bro, Jacksonville State is in Georgia. It's not even Florida, Jacksonville. So.
First of all, I'm never calling this man anything other than McCorkle anything ever again, bro, because that is a fabulous name. Second of all,
that's his real name, though.
Right, I know, but I just fall into what everybody else is calling him. Second of all, Mike, you need to listen to Juan. Coming from somebody who understands how the NFL works in terms of wins and losses, you take the wins how they come. All of them will not be pretty. With Tua, if Tua throws for 3 yards and they win the game, you won the game. You move on to the next one and hope he plays better the next time. This is
I don't
Mike,
know. That's not me. That's not me.
You cannot live and die with one player.
I'm not like. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna obviously I'm not giving up on the season if we go out here and have a bad game, and I'm not thinking that the sky is falling and it's completely over. But there's gonna have to be a lot of explaining if that's what happens. If he comes out here and throws 3 yards and they win, I understand. Good, they found a way to win, but whoa, that's rough.
Sure. That's a fair point. But he didn't lose the game. Like that's what you have to like. Some quarterbacks will lose you the game.
There's gonna come a point where it's gonna be, do you want it to look pretty and get numbers like Herbert, or do you care more about end results, wins?
Winning is more important, but in my opinion,
you
don't spend a 5th overall pick on a guy who's not gonna lose you the game. You can get that in a different quarterback later on in the draft. That's what I think.
Yeah, but unless you have a history of having quarterbacks,
I think
unless you have a history of quarterbacks who always lose you the game.
But don't you think it's a little like it's a little out there to ask Tua to be already that guy 9 games after hip injury?
Hold on a second. What I asked for was for him to look better than a rookie starting his first game against the top 10 defense. That's what I asked for. I didn't ask for him to go out there and throw.
That's like 93 yards though. But I'm saying if he goes out there and throws 160 yards, 1 touchdown, maybe an interception, but they still win.
He had a rough game.
Are we gonna kill him?
I'm not gonna kill him. I'm not gonna kill him even if he has 3 yards and they lose the game. I'm gonna say you had a rough game. I need to see you do it differently. But come on,
you leave it to me then. I'll do that.
Why would
shout out Ethan?
Are we gonna be obsessed with Herbert all season? I just want to make sure.
A little bit.
I mean, look, as soon as it happened, it came in.
I saw it. Somebody way before that.
I'll bring it back to Dolphins though. I think there's 3 points I want to really make here. Like, and the first 2 are kind of tied in. Where we have our advantages is our wide receiver room to their DBs because of all the injuries, and I mentioned that earlier. Our advantage is also as well with our DBs versus their wide receivers because Jacoby, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Gunnar Olszewski. Like these are guys that scare me at all, right? So we have our advantages there. Where it gets scary is that the Patriots' advantages are their O-line versus our O-line, right? So it almost comes down to like that age-old question of, okay, well, do you want to have the weapons or do you want to have the line to win? And I think it's going to be a very interesting game, in my opinion, because of that. It's two different philosophies. One wants to be more ball dominant, more ball control, run the ball, have your defense play very little and not have your quarterback lose you the game. And I'm talking about the Patriots there. Whereas the Dolphins this year, it feels like almost they're like locked and loaded to have some type of like high powered, like 3 plays and we're scoring a 70-yard touchdown, which I don't mind, but it's an interesting dynamic of what we're trying to achieve down here.
Royal?
I think the big thing for me is going to be to see how the Dolphins contain the Patriots running game. Like that to me is going to be where we figure out how this game is going to go. If they can control that running game, then you're putting all the pressure on Mac Jones to win the game, and I don't believe that he's capable of doing that right now. If the Patriots are finding success running the ball, they're going to keep running the ball. And that's what you want to avoid, because I think that's probably one of their strengths in terms of their team is being able to have several different backs that can hurt you. And their offensive line is okay, but I still believe the Dolphins have a better defensive line. But I want to see the Dolphins run defense versus the Patriots run offense, and see who wins that battle, because I believe that goes a long way into figuring out who's going to win this game.
So as we get through that, we wanted to get into game predictions, and we'll go in reverse order with you, Mr. Royal A. Shepherd. Score prediction, and then now I say include anyone you want, the player that will have the most impact in this game on either side of the football, if you want to say it that way.
No problem. I think
either side of the teams, excuse me.
I think the Dolphins are going to win this game, and I think it's not going to be as high scoring as some people think. I'm looking probably like 21-17-ish. Dolphins win. 21-17, Dolphins win, and I think Tua is the most dominant player on the field today.
Juan?
I was just sitting here about to argue with somebody about Najee Harris because he had an 18-yard run. Like he didn't have, whatever.
I'm sorry, he had a what? I'm sorry?
An 18-yard run, so that brings him up to 14 for 43. With 3.1 yards.
Listen, that sounds like Dolphins backfield material to me.
All right, yeah. Love it. I love the dedication to the narrative.
What's the name of that podcast? What's the name of that Dolphins podcast?
3 yards for carry.
3.1. That's a W. Let's go. Najee season.
Damn, he really got you, Juan. Honestly,
that was actually wonderful.
How do I combat that? Like you got that. I'm like, but all right. So like we've come to the point in the show, and I think we all realize where we're going here. I am going to be the only one saying that the Patriots are going to win. I do see it being exactly like Royal said, but the opposite. I see you said 21-17. I'm going to go 24-17. I feel like Belichick is going to come out with something fresh and new for Tua to struggle with. If he's able to play that chess match and win that, I think we do pull out the W. But until I see that happen, I'm gonna err with the side of caution and go with Patriots.
Now, Michael.
I think this is the same one I said on Thursday. If not, my bad. I got Dolphins winning 27-17. I think the Dolphins will find success on offense, and the defense is going to do enough where I think it's going to be 27-10 near the end of the game. They score one more touchdown. That doesn't really matter. Dolphins run out the clock. Game over. Biggest impact, I'm going to put Kai'Chien on that one. I think Kai'Chien wants to have a monster year because of his contract situation. I think the Patriots linebackers are bad, like actively bad when it comes to covering tight ends. And I don't think any of their safeties are going to be able to keep up with him either. And if they do put a safety on him, then somebody's going to have to eat up, some deep passes from a wide receiver standpoint, which I think they can do. So I'm going to put Kai'Chien as the biggest impact today.
All right, I'm going to say 24-14 Miami Dolphins win, and I think that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be the most impactful player on the field. I just think that that's how it's going to go. That's how my heart has been giving me for quite some time now. 24-14 has been the lead into what I think is going to end up happening. very quickly, as we get ready to round out the show here for this Yard Prep pre-game show, we have a little bit to say about Thrive Fantasy, and I want to pass it on to you, Michael, because I feel like you do it so very well.
Oh, dang. I really don't feel like I do. Thrive Fantasy, is the contest still open?
Yes, it is. You have 50 minutes still.
All right, you have 50 minutes to enter the contest. We have a Dolphins competition. You can pick over-unders based on each individual Dolphins player. It is free to enter. You just have to use the code Dolphins, all lowercase, just Dolphins.
Yes.
You go over there, you pick some over-unders on what's happening. So Tua Tagovailoa, 240.5 passing yards. More or less than that.
Gesicki.
I mean, if you're Juan, you put under on everything except for Gesicki, apparently, because he just hates the Dolphins. That's just how it is. But definitely make sure to go check out Thrive Fantasy and use the code 5FINS when creating your account. You will get a 100% money match guarantee for everything up to $100. Who doesn't love free money? Dumb people. That's who.
So, Michael, real quick before we move on to the last subject, I think. Miles, you're going over under?
I'm gonna.
It was 50 yards.
Under
50 and a
Najee.
half.
Under Najee. That's what I'm going with.
Najee's at 43. Is that
under?
Wow.
You think
the
passion
of your
here's the thing I will say. I think Gaskin can have a good game, but Ahmed's gonna get a decent amount of touches too, in my opinion. And it depends on what kind of game they're gonna play. So I mean, last time it was Ahmed that torched them. I understand it's because Gaskin was hurt, but he found a way to have success. So I'd be curious if they go back to Ahmed just because he did destroy them before. I don't know what they're going to do. So with the running backs, I'm really not ever going to pin stats on any of them just because it's going to be all over the place, in my opinion.
All right. So do we have any last things to say here as we round out? Does anyone have anything that they want to just get off their chest, or are ready to kind of head in and
Josh Allen is 22 for 40, 199 yards and a touchdown. Regression coming. Juan will never shut up about it.
Right.
Well, you're calling regression? Listen, I'll see regression when I see him play the Dolphins. Okay, if he torches us like he always does, I don't know, bro.
McCorkle's favorite receiver today. I want to say something, Michael. McCorkle's favorite receiver today is going to be Xavier Howard, who's going to have 5 receptions for 100 yards.
What? 5 picks?
Yes, indeed. All take Xavier Howard.
So that's how we're going
to 5 picks in a game as a team. Whoa.
That's how we're going to wrap this out. We're going to wrap it out with the Royal A. Kuiper Jr. talking in there with his prediction. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to Yard Prep. You'll be able to tune into Yard Prep every single week here. For these 4 p.m. or 4:30 games, obviously they'll be a little bit later, but usually we will have them before any of the games for the day start. We hope you guys have a great day. And again, as Royal said, try to temper your expectations a little bit. But of course, we are Dolphins Twitter. We know who we are going to be. We're Dolphins fandom in the world.
I'm ready to overreact.
Everyone's ready to overreact. Fins up. We'll see you guys for post game with Louis Sung, Hassan Patel, and Ethan Skolnick when the game is over.